Mom, Dad, there's no way that I can express to you what I'm feeling right now. My heart is full to bursting, except to say, I'm the king of the world!
Hello and welcome back to Cameron, King of the World, for the final time. Thank you for joining me for this Coda video of the entire series, Chapter 31. What a ride it's been to get here. At least in my opinion. You might not agree with that. You might think it's been a pretty boring and dull ride to get here, and calling it what a ride is a little bit inaccurate. But I have loved doing this, and I contemplated making this video after all the videos had come out so I could kind of see what the audience reaction is to it on YouTube and stuff. But you know, either way, if all the videos get 50 views and no comments, it'll be a shame. It'll feel like a lot of wasted time and effort, but I have thoroughly enjoyed just doing a deep dive on one of my favorite directors, and I think that it's just strengthened my love for him and his movies in particular, I should say. But also I have grown more of a respect for the man himself and the things that he's done, the way that he holds himself in more recent years comparatively to how he did in his earlier youth as a filmmaker and creative, and it's just been nice. I've found it really rewarding to revisit most of his films, and it's just again strengthened my love and enjoyment and appreciation for a lot of those films, particularly Titanic, Avatar, even the Terminator 2. Maybe not so much. I mean, I've always thought that film was incredible, but I think particularly with Titanic and Avatar, the original Terminator, I've really just loved. And then just seeing some of the other stuff that he's done that I've never really exposed myself to, like the deep sea exploration documentaries, which I just found so much enjoyment out of, and wonder and awe. And going into those like different things, like just digging deeper into different topics and things, like his abandoned Spider-Man movie, going deep into the production history of Aliens. That was really rewarding, time-consuming, but to go to a film that I've loved my entire life, literally Aliens, and a film that I've, learned a lot of trivia about throughout my entire life since I was a teenager. It was great as an adult to find all this stuff I never knew about the film, and to really just look at not even the brass tacks, but just like some of the more deep specifics about the film, which sometimes can be a bad thing if you're looking at it too much as a production than a movie that you can enjoy. And some people don't appreciate knowing too much about the behind the scenes workings of films, but I love it. And to me, it just it kind of makes it a fuller experience to me when I know even more about the behind the scenes, I think. So the Aliens kind of trilogy of videos was a lot of effort, like I said, but it was really rewarding to put those three together. And going back to The Abyss was something that I felt was long overdue, even if perhaps it didn't turn out to be the kind of revelation that I hoped it would be. I kind of hoped going back to The Abyss would be like, wow, this is a masterpiece that I really have not appreciated after all this time. But I think that, I've said what I said on The Abyss, I suppose, in the previous videos, but you can't win them all, I suppose. I mean, I really like The Abyss, still, don't get me wrong, but with the case of Titanic, it's like, I've never enjoyed this as much as I have right now. With the case of the Terminator, I've never enjoyed this as much as I have right now. The same with Avatar, and it was nice to go back. I mean, True Lies, again, was probably the only disappointment, where it's like, this isn't really that great, and I enjoy it for the nostalgia, and it is a fun movie, but overall, maybe not so much as I, as much as I loved it when I was a kid. But the broader scope of everything has been just a journey for me, and at this point, it's been about 5 months of working on the series, watching the films, listening to the audio commentaries, watching interviews, reading books, reading articles online, doing online research, and it's just been so much. And I was quite heartwarmed to see a Reddit Q&A with Cameron, and people were asking him all this stuff and asking him what he thought about the South Park sketch about him, and he was very kind of humble about it and stuff, and good-natured about them poking fun at him. But people were asking him like, what have been your biggest achievements? And he's like, there's 5 of them, my children. And he just seems like a really dedicated family man, and that's kind of his, that's what he enjoys the most, just spending time with his family when he's not working or doing other things. And so I think from a guy who very much rub people the wrong way when he first started in the industry as a filmmaker. And certainly, again, there are stories from the Avatar set. I don't know if I mentioned, I think I forgot to mention this one, but apparently, while filming Avatar, we still got stories to tell. Apparently, when filming Avatar, Cameron would get so incensed if someone's phone went off that he would take their phone and nail it to the wall. I don't know how true that is. And part of me is just like, well, fucking right. Like, don't have your phone on you or have it on when you're making a film, and it's a big production. But at the same time, I also think, what a dick. There could be family photos on there. Like, is there a discussion beforehand? Like, do you have anything sensitive on this phone? No? Okay, slam and hammer. I don't know. And again, it seems a bit outlandish, perhaps. But he has talked about trying to be more mellow in recent years and stuff. But there's arguments to be made that the reason his films turned out so great is because he was so tenacious and because, he didn't have the best bedside manner when it came to being a director. But it's just, it's interesting to see all that. If there's one thing I've learned throughout this whole journey and experience, it's that Cameron likes to revise his own history a little bit. There's no doubt about that because there's just conflicting stories that don't seem to add up, But at the same time, he's got the ego, and that can't be denied. And I think that part of that is a positive thing. Part of it maybe is a negative thing as well. That's kind of part of the human experience, though. But I just think that he has a good mind for storytelling, and it's interesting because he's made these films that just really resonate with people. The Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss has a huge following that kind of really grew with home video, as far as I'm aware. And then Terminator 2, even True Lies, people really love True Lies. It's like a fun action movie. And Titanic, there's a lot of people who dislike Titanic, but there's a lot of people who love that film. Avatar. I said in the previous videos that it feels like there's no real fan base for Avatar, and I did some digging, and there is. There's literally forums out there where people converse only in Na'vi. I mean, that's like a whole other level of dedication I can't even imagine with being a fan of something. So there are clearly people out there who really deeply connect to Avatar on a level that I never could, as much as I love the movie. So he's able to make these films and tell these stories that just, they have longevity. And I think the only reason maybe True Lies and The Abyss haven't had as much longevity and staying power is because they haven't gone past that step of kind of home video. They're stuck in the DVD era from like 20 fucking years ago. There's been no Blu-rays of those. Seeing them on streaming is incredibly rare. I remember recently Ryan Johnson was, posted a screenshot on Twitter of like him trying to search for True Lies or The Abyss on like iTunes, and he's just like, huh? Where is it? And Cameron replied, like, I know guys, I'm working on it. But, in terms of those big, I'd say Terminator, Aliens, Terminator 2, Titanic, and Avatar, the big five, I would say, personally, those are films that they continue to hold up. I know people disagree with all of that, and there's, lots of opinions about his movies, but it can't be denied that the films that he has made, and we're taking Piranha 2 off the table, because for me, it isn't a Cameron film. I have it on the stack behind me, but, when he shot for a few days on it, I can't really in good conscience consider it to be a James Cameron film. But you're looking at his original stuff, even if some of the stuff has been based on other things. But his, the films where he had a lot of creative control, which is everything except for Piranha 2, I suppose. But, everything beyond Piranha 2, those films, they have a stamp to them. And there is this running theme of sentimentality, and I think that his sensibility it leans towards that kind of almost hopeless romantic. And I think people have a hard time dealing with that because a lot of his earlier films are cool and they lean into kind of like, combat and warfare and kind of tough, kind of, machismo and all that kind of stuff. And so I think people think that he kind of softened up by the time he got to Titanic and he kind of went against his roots. But again, I've said it before and it's worth repeating one more time. You look at the very beginning with the Terminator, it's this kind of almost Romeo and Juliet style story where, Kyle Reese says, I traveled across time for you, Sarah. I love you. I always have. This woman, he's just seen a fucking photograph of her. How can he be in love with her? He doesn't know who she is, But for that story, it works. And because of Michael Bihn's performance, it works. Because of Linda Hamilton's performance, it works. But it's an incredibly cheesy line. And it's a big leap for the audience to take, I think. But because it's surrounded by this really cool movie and it's acted convincingly, no one really seems to consider it when they look at some of his, more upfront sentimentality in later films. Same with Aliens, when Newt calls Ripley her mommy at the end of the film, and then Terminator 2, why do you cry? Like, he's leaning into all these emotional things, and even The Abyss, and The Abyss, it just feels like such a commentary on his own life, and I've talked about that in the videos about The Abyss. So I feel like he is a really personal filmmaker and storyteller. And there's a lot of things to criticize about his films, I think, and I think there's a lot of things to praise. And for me, to my sensibilities and the things that I enjoy, the things that I love, the things that I like watching over and over again, films that I can watch once a year, every year, and get lifelong enjoyment out of them, they're kind of all there in his filmography. There isn't really, well, again, I would say maybe The Abyss and True Lies are two movies that I wouldn't go back to again and again and again, but then, with The Abyss, I have to watch it on a USB stick, so it's not as like, you can't just pull it off the shelf and go, where did I put that file, So maybe when The Abyss comes out on Blu-ray, if it ever does, I'm sure it will at some point, surely, right? Maybe not. I don't know. But if it does, then maybe that'll be something to put on with more ease, and I might kind of settle more. I feel like The Abyss is like a tough nut I need to crack. I don't know. But it's just one of those things. And but again, Aliens, I should say, not Alien. Aliens, The Terminator, Terminator 2, Titanic, Avatar. Those 5 core movies for me are just timeless. They really are. Like, I thought maybe Avatar might, with the special effects heavy nature of it, might not hold up as well 10 years later, and it fucking holds up. Titanic, even with the early kind of advent of CGI stuff going on at the time in the mid-90s, it still holds up because it's done sparingly and it's done with models, and kind of it blends all the live action stuff and there's practical effects with the CGI effects, so it works very well. It holds up, and the story holds up as well, and as an adult it just affects me even more and more. Terminator 2 holds up, Aliens holds up, Terminator holds up, and I think True Lies is a lot of fun. I think The Abyss is incredibly impressive, and again, like I said, features one of the most incredible pieces of acting I've ever seen. So there's always something, and so with The Abyss, it's this. I know it's interesting with The Abyss because it's kind of like I can't believe he did it. I can't believe he pulled that off. I can't believe how bold he was with some of even just seeing some of the scenes when they're kind of swimming around with all this stuff, like the coordination of everything of how that film was made is incredibly impressive to me. And I'm sure there are people out there who don't think about those things at all, which there's an argument to be made. That's the better way to watch a movie, is to just watch it and let it, no pun intended, wash over you. No joke intended, I should say. There's no pun in wash and water, but there's no joke in saying that, because I think that might be a purer way to enjoy a movie and a story, is to just let it happen. But when I'm sitting there going, wow, that's really impressive, maybe that's holding me back from enjoying it as much as I could. I don't know, but it's endlessly impressive. And I feel like that's kind of his, he really went all out with that in terms of like, let's just push the boundaries of what we can actually make in terms of a film and doing it for real. And that obviously didn't lead to a very fun experience for anyone making it. I think he learned from that perhaps moving forward, and, never had a shoot as difficult as that again. But, I look at, again, the clear themes that go across all of his films, and there's a lot, it's love. Love is like this kind of, this unifying force that kind of binds the whole James Cameron thing together. The Terminator is this kind of slasher movie, but you have at the center of it this soldier comes back to save this woman, to save the future of the human race. But really what he's doing, he's trying to save the woman that he loves. And so it's the kind of core, kind of heartbeat of that film is this love, this kind of not unrequited, because I don't know if you could even say that Sarah does grow to love Kyle Reese. I suppose she does in a very a heightened sort of way where they just meet, and it's very passionate, and well, not passionate, it's very intense, and then becomes passionate, I suppose. But either way, this dreamy kind of love that he has for her, this kind of unexplainable love, unrealistic, idealistic, perhaps I could say, an idealistic love that Kyle Reese has for Sarah Connor. And then you move to Aliens, and it's about parental love, kind of a maternal love and a maternal instinct. It's about Ripley, and it's about this little girl Newt. It's about this. It's a love story in that sense, a different kind of love story. The Abyss, it's about the love between two people who are driving each other apart. And how maybe they can reconcile and put things back together, which in the case of Cameron and his wife at the time wasn't possible. Maybe it was kind of a wish fulfillment for him of, how could I save this, even though I know there are things about each other that we rub each other the wrong way, but is there some way that we could save it? And then Terminator 2, again, very much about the love between a young boy and a machine, and this young boy looking for a father. And what else could that be other than looking for a parental figure who gives you love back in return, which he never had because his father had died before he was born. And then also Sarah's love for her son, and how her love for her son and kind of her empathy ends up kind of stopping her from becoming the thing that she's trying to destroy anyway. And then you have True Lies, which I guess it's kind of about love. It's about the love between a man and a woman, and how they're living separate lives, and eventually those two lives come back together again, and love conquers all. Maybe not so much. There's not really a film that has a lot of deep themes to it. But then Titanic, I mean, that's very much about love and how love can save people if two people come together in a circumstance like that. And then you have Avatar, which is another big sweeping, star-crossed lovers story. So for Cameron, it's all about love. It's, love is in the air. Like, that's, all you need is love. I think that's the that's the takeaway that I take from his films. But there's a lot of cool shit in there as well. A lot of explosions and guns, firing off, bullets whizzing past people's ears and things. But as much as the action and the rip-roaring suspense can be found in most of his films, I think that the core of it is ultimately love. And I don't know whether people would agree with that, but that's what I found in going through all of his films. And for me, that's a mission statement. That's a central theme that I can get behind, because and I can't believe that I'm rounding off this James Cameron series talking about love, but for me it is like the most powerful thing that we have as people, because it's what drives us. We hope for future love, we cherish love when we have it. It's what gives us meaning. It's what drives us. It's what gets us out of bed in the morning. It's the family that we love, the friends that we love, the partners that we love. And again, the love that we hope to someday achieve with meeting someone new. I mean, it's just always that love is always there. And, all the evil in the world, I think, comes from lives that are devoid of love. So it's just, it sounds sappy and sentimental and wanky to say, like, love is the most important thing. But I think that the human condition is entirely, at the mercy of how love colors our lives, I think. And I don't think Cameron necessarily was setting out to do that, but just naturally through his own sensibilities, again, I think that's how those themes creeped into all of his movies. And I've loved going back and watching all of them and seeing the documentaries that he's done as well, and the reverence he had for, those shipwrecks, and the wonder that he has for science and for exploration and discovery. And it's overall just been an incredible ride for me. I mean, I'm very happy with this series. I do wish I could have gone the full extra mile and edited in pictures and clips from everything, but it would take me years to do that. And I wanted to kind of finish this while my phase was still going for it, because I've gone through 2 phases, and I go through phases in kind of movies that I watch and things I'm interested in. And so when I watched Titanic, and that was the catalyst for this whole series, I thought I could do a James Cameron series. So God, I could do like a month-long one. And do I have enough ideas to spread it out for a month? And maybe I could stretch it to 31. I like that as an idea, 31 videos, one every day. And maybe there's not enough, and then suddenly there was just too many, and I had to kind of keep like deleting videos from the list I had in terms of the schedule and the plan. And then I finally honed it down to these 31 videos. And, so I've got it all there laid out, and then I've got to work my way through it. And after a month or two, I start losing the kind of excitement and passion for it. So it almost like, it wasn't that it was never going to happen, because I'd already finished like 8 or 9 videos and put a lot of work into it. But it took a month or two for me to get that second wind and then just drive through it. And it's been great to kind of get one more phase of really being into it creatively. Even though it's not a very creative thing, just to talk about other people's movies and projects. But I don't know. I've tried to put, this is the most effort I've put into researching stuff, and I've had notes. If I can find my notes, they're around here somewhere. I can show you the scope of how much I've got. And I've never written down notes for anything. I've typed up some maybe reminders and bullet points, but these are all the pages and pages of notes. And these have been really helpful, very time consuming, but I've thrown half of these away already because I just held on to the last half to see how many pages there'd be left, and there's about 40 pages of notes in there, and that's just for about 8 or 9 of the videos total. So that's been fun. It's a different way of working and kind of having some reminders to look at every now and then while I'm doing the videos, which has been a different experience for me, but it's been nice trying something different and trying to really research stuff. The only issue I have is that some of the videos didn't have that level of research in the beginning, so it's a little uneven in terms of how much information I'm kind of relaying in the videos, but it's all done now, and I'm very happy with it. Would have liked to have done more, and currently, I don't know if this is going to pan out yet, but I might have commissioned a series that's basically this, but as video essay style videos for JoeBlow.com, who I work with. So at some point in 2021, keep an eye on their channel, which is Joe Blow Videos. They have the trailers channel, but Joe Blow Videos is kind of their original videos channel. and I've made many videos on there over the past 5 or 6 years, and I might be doing basically this, Cameron King of the World, but in a more focused fashion on kind of his 7 main movies. And so that'll be a lot of work, but I'll get paid for it, and that'll give me more motivation to put the time in, I suppose. And it won't be as long and scattered and protracted as this series. But because I've done a lot of this research now, it's going to give me a great foundation from which to work on those videos, if it does in fact go ahead. And I'll let you know, you'll find out from me if that stuff does actually happen, but it would be nice. And I have thought at points throughout this, when I'm making like 50-minute long videos, 60-minute long videos about behind the scenes stories of some of these films, I'm thinking, this is going to be a tough sell for people, especially doing it one video every single day. And in some ways, I look at what I've done and I think I could just release these one a week for a year, and I'd have like a year's worth of content. But I just like the packaging it all into a month. I just like the idea for some reason. I don't know. I don't think it's going to do well for the views, unfortunately. And if I spaced it out every week, I think the views would be much better and it would be much easier for people to follow. But I have other things I want to move on to at the same time, so it's just all going to come out in one fell swoop, one every day. And at this point, it should have already happened. Fingers crossed. And we got over the finish line. At the time of recording this video, I still have a few more videos to film, like 3 or 4. But I'm hoping I'll get there in time. But it's been a very highly concentrated period of working on videos. Would have been nice to do more editing with it, but it is what it is. And as I say, I almost thought that it would be better to make these podcasts, because people don't really blink an eye when there's an hour-long podcast. But when it's a video, it's like, oh, you sat in front of a camera for an hour. It's like, well, it's no different really than a podcast, I suppose. You just see some of my expressions, I don't know. And I'm sure that, not even 95%, I'm sure 100% of people will probably watch these videos while doing other things. So me sitting in front of this camera, setting up the background, the lights, kind of putting on a nice shirt, making sure I've shaved, making sure my hair looks alright, making sure there's no fucking toothpaste on my lip, or whatever it happens to be, is really all for naught, because I don't think anyone's going to really watch this and sit down and watch these videos. But anyway, it's done now. This is the Coda, this is the finale, that's just my wrap-up of the entire thing. And finally, I will tell you what I would like to do in the future. I would like to do my very own James Cameron-style special edition of Cameron King of the World, and go back and make a few bonus videos. And the way I do this, because I liked having this be a chronological run, so the dates are there in every video to kind of give you like, I just want to do like a timeline of almost everything, pretty much roughly in order. Sometimes it skips back and forth because there are films that have had past histories that go beyond, way back a decade or two before the film was actually even made. But there are 3 videos that I got rid of on the schedule that I really want to do, but it's going to take a while to do them. So I might just go back and make them 0.5 episodes. So one would be chapter 19.5, because it fits between chapter 19 and 20. So hopefully that'll happen. I'll tell you right now what those 3 videos are. The first one is his foray into television in 2000 with Dark Angel, starring Jessica Alba. And I'd forgotten that he even produced that TV series, because I was looking into the background of Alita Battle Angel. I was like, oh yeah, because like Dark Angel was kind of inspired by Alita, and he produced that show. And so I looked into it, and I was like, well, maybe I can just watch like an episode he directed and just talk about that. And of course, he directed the final episode of the 2nd season. So I would have had to have watched 44 episodes of television just to get to the Cameron directed episode. And I just didn't have the time, because I wanted to get this thing out in March of 2021. So I briefly considered it, and I tried to work out the mathematics. I think I would have had to watch like 5 to 6 episodes every day, constantly, and I just thought, I can't do that. I cannot do that. But one day I'd like to go back and watch Dark Angel and fit it back into this series. That would be nice. The other video is Deleted Cameron. So there have been many films of his that have had deleted scenes, and quite a few have had special edition extended versions. With Aliens, I think there is a deleted scene or 2, but there's nothing really substantial. With Terminator 2, I've kind of already talked about the different versions, and there isn't really many deleted scenes out there because there are the 3 different cuts of the movie. With Titanic, though, and with Avatar and the Terminator, there's a healthy amount of deleted scenes for those 3 films in particular. The Abyss also got a special edition version. I don't know about True Lies. That's a film that just never really seemed to have a good release with extras or anything, so I'm not sure about True Lies having any deleted material that's available to watch. So I would have liked to have done a video where I talk about the deleted scenes of Terminator, Titanic, and Avatar, all in one video, just talking about the various kind of stuff that he left on the cutting room floor for those 3 big movies of his career. And then the final video that I wanted to do, which I only found about again very recently, was a TV series that he produced in 2018. And I'm not sure if he produced it, he might have executive produced it, but he was involved in the making of it, and he also hosts the show. And I think it's called James Cameron's Story of Science Fiction. And it's this, I think it's a 6-episode documentary series that ran on AMC in 2018, and it's Cameron just getting together an incredible array of people involved in the film industry, from like Ridley Scott to Steven Spielberg, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like all these big, Christopher Nolan, and actors and all sorts of people involved in the world of science fiction, just going through the history of films in science fiction and talking about various themes like robots, time travel, all that kind of stuff. And I'd love to do that, just watch them, give my thoughts, and I think that'd be a cool video to do, and I'm looking forward to checking that series out. So that's pretty much it. Those 3 are the ones I'd like to do. And perhaps, maybe years into the future, I could do chapter 32 and talk about Avatar 2 when it comes out. So that'd be really cool. But for now, as the series was envisioned, Cameron King of the World is now complete. So I thank you for watching, even if you just watched a few of them. Maybe not so much if you've just watched this one. I wouldn't thank you for that, because I think, what are you doing? There's not much to learn from this. Well, I guess I did kind of recap what I thought about the whole thing. So, thanks for watching this, I guess, I suppose. I shouldn't turn my nose up at anyone watching any video that I make. But for anyone who's watched all of them, well done, for sure, because it's going to be a slog. I get sick to death of the sound of my own fucking voice, so I can't imagine listening to it for 31 days in a row. But obviously, there's always time to catch up, and years from now, people can hopefully enjoy this series, and or not, I don't know. That remains to be seen. And that's the part where, when you make a lot of videos on a YouTube channel, you second guess yourself and think, who the fuck is going to be interested in this? Like, honestly, why'd you bother? And then I just stop and think, well, because I enjoy it, Some people seem to enjoy watching them. It's good enough for me. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy making it. So, and the experience of watching all these films and doing all the research, as I said, has not been work for me. It's been well, it has been work. Like, it's been work to do it, but I've enjoyed that. It's taken a lot of time. Time is the main thing. Time is money, and when I'm working 2 jobs, it is difficult to find the time, but I enjoy that time. So it's been a very enjoyable experience for me, a long one, but a fulfilling one. So thank you for watching, and I guess I'll see you next time.